this will be, my second attempt video about the manga, The Ravages of Time by Chanmo. It's a Hong Kong manga and has been quite one of the most popular manga available right now. And this will be mostly on the characters rather than the actual story, because it's gonna be, the story is gonna be quite it can be complicated, so I'll just focus on the main characters of this story right now. So, once again, The Ravages of Time is a manga based on the famous novel, The Romance of the Three Kingdoms, basically a retelling of the story based on different characters' point of view. So, the first character that I will discuss will be the first character shown here. This is the monster in the dream. Now, the first time, this is the first character we saw in the whole series, basically. So when I saw this, I'm sort of confused because I was under the impression that I'm gonna read a historical manhwa. Then I saw this somewhat immortal monster which doesn't seem to die, because to me it gives up he looks like an immortal because you can see all the spears. And so what I thought immediately was, this monster doesn't die. It actually gave me a lot of Berserk vibes, the manga Berserk by Kentaro Miura, and the art is very good, and so is this manga. The art and the design for this monster is very good. It's really cool. But then again, it turns out it's just a dream, and this is actually so far as we know, this monster is just a dream. But it's very cool, and we're gonna keep on seeing this monster basically throughout the series, and potentially this monster is actually the main character, as I will sort of talk about later. So as for the actual main character, we have Simai or Zongda. He is sort of he's the one that I'm talking about before, the point of view character of the main character. I said before that Simai is the main character, but that might not be the case because he sort of just appeared at the first part, or the first few chapters, and then he sort of disappears for most of the story. Now, Simai is a historical character, and then he's also in the novel, but pretty much. But in the original, he's sort of one of the main villains. He's with Cao Cao already. Here, we kind of follow his childhood, and we saw that he's already a mastermind even at an early age. And although despite that, he's more of an anti-hero here because he has some morally questionable actions even in this manga. So I think it's either he's a hero or the main guy or an anti-hero, but he's not really a straight up villain here because he does have some morals, but he's sort of a villainous mastermind, like Lelouch and like Yagami. He's sort of that kind of character, but he started up really young, and he's one of the smartest characters, and everything sort of ties back to him, leads to his plans. Everything, if he's not the main character, then he's sort of the trigger character of the events here in the series, or at least one of because the main villain is also one of the main triggers of the main villain of the first part of the story is also one of the main triggers of the story. And then for the next is, aside from me, is Liao Yan Huo. I just call him Huo because I find it hard to pronounce his name. He's sort of the leader of what we call the handicap warriors here. Now, unlike Simai, he's not a historical character, but we'll later find out he is, in fact. But the name Huo, Liao Yuan Ho, is not a historical character. But later he will change his name, and it will be revealed that he is in fact a historical character. Now, unlike Simai, Huo is not really. Huo is more of a heroic or a main character type because he has loyalty, he has good qualities, he seeks to have a better purpose in a sense. He is also very loyal not just to Simai, also to his fellow handicap warriors. He's also a good leader. He also cares about people. He gets attached to people that he meets within his mission. And he has some internal struggles within him. So Liao Yuan Huo is more of a main character here. Now, as we said, Huo and there's more of a like the handicap warriors is also a part of this, and as I said, they're a sort of from the word itself, handicap, meaning some members are losing an arm or losing a leg, but they can fight, and the former leader is losing an eye. And Huo, being the handicap warriors, is also a handicap in his own, meaning, so in a sense, he doesn't feel pain. That's the part of him that's handicapped, but that works very well for him because it helps him in his mission. He doesn't really feel pain, but it's all the negative part of that is the downside of that is sort of he doesn't know when his body is already at its limit, and that came later on. So the first part, that that condition of him is working well for him, but later on he finds out there's a downside. He doesn't know that his body is already breaking down, so that's a problem. But nevertheless, Huo is one of the strongest character here, and later I think he will be one of the strongest character here. Of course, he's not the strongest. And that's it for now. I think Sima and Huo, I will just focus on these two, on main characters, because they are sort of the two most important. It's either them, either Sima or Huo is the main character of the story, pretty much. And then for the villains, we have Dongzuo. He's sort of the main trigger that I'm talking about. So basically, during this time, the Han Dynasty already lasted for 200 years, and Han Dynasty is the successor for the Qin Dynasty, which took over the first dynasty to unify all of China. The things going on in the kingdom manga right now, basically the first emperor, that kingdom sort of fell, and then the successor to that, the next kingdom or the next empire who unified most of China, is the Han Dynasty. And then it's already 200 years have passed already since the Han Dynasty existed, and it's falling apart right now due to the corrupt eunuch. And Dongzuo he doesn't like that, so he starts a coup, and so he sort of kills the emperor and then kidnaps the younger would-be emperor. So he's sort of holding the emperor the whole time, and he's along with another main villain, Lubu. More on Lubu later. So Dongzuo is sort of very important in a sense that he's the one who started it all in the series. And even when he was already defeated or he was killed, they all of them sort of become the successor to what Dongzuo started, because he started it and they have to end the chaos during this time, pretty much. So Dongzuo, even though he's just the main villain of the first part, he really can't be ignored. He's sort of way too important for that, and several characters keep on going back to him, to what he did. So there we go. And then now to the other villain, which is sort of one of my favorite, Lubu, and he's the secondary villain of this first part. And then he will, unlike Dongzuo, he will move on to the other parts of the story. So for Lubu is known as the God of War, and then, as a matter of fact, he's so dangerous. People say do not pursue Lubu because he really is one of the strongest character here. And actually, this is probably my favorite version of Lubu. No, not probably. This is my favorite version of Lubu compared to what I call that, the Dynasty Warriors and the Record of Ragnarok. Because Lubu, there is usually more of just a brute or a very strong warriors. But this time he is known for two things, because Lubu is sort of known as a betrayer. He sort of betrays everyone he goes with. He betrays Dongzuo, he betrays Cao Cao later on, and then Sima Yi doesn't even trust him. So and his first father, I forgot the name, he was with someone else before joining Dongzuo. And so Lubu is sort of a betrayer, and not only that, he's also smart in the sense that he can lead several thousands of armies on his own. He's also a strategist, so he's very dangerous aside from being one of the strongest characters. Actually, I think he is the strongest character because in the end, it sort of took a lot to beat him. And what they call this, it's supposed to, like, Cao Cao wants to get rid of Lubu. That's really one of the most important moments in the series, because they they sort of created a coalition against Lubu because he's already so dangerous at that point in time. And in Kingdom, they also created a coalition, but that's several kingdoms against the Qin dynasty, which is also a kingdom of itself. But Lubu, he's just an individual. He's a military leader, so he's not a kingdom. He's just one person. But they decided they need to create a coalition against Lubu. So that shows how dangerous Lubu is, because he even he had several great feats in the series that are legendary. First of all, he fought the handicap warriors. The handicap warriors are very strong on their own. He fought them one by one, and then he was poisoned, and then he still fought Huo, and then it was a long fight, and then not just Huo but several other characters. He chased them down, and then even when poisoned and after fighting several handicap warriors, it was a stalemate. They didn't really manage to finish the fight. So if Lubu didn't fought several people into one-on-one, Huo would definitely lose. And then he also fought this 10,000 army by himself. They were asking if we can last for a month. How many months? They're saying we can do it in 1 month. But Lubu said no, it's today. The war that they're going on ends today. And then he fought the commander, and then he he sort of killed him. No, he killed him, and then he fought the 10,000 army, lost their will, and then he easily skimmed through them. So and then he traumatized Cao Cao. You know, Cao Cao is gonna be one of those important characters later on, perhaps one of the main villains, the overall villain of the series, pretty much. What he will later become. And then that's it. And then they decided to finally kill him, though Sima Yi worked together with Cao Cao and two other geniuses, which is Gujia, and then Jiashu, I think. And then yeah, and then what they took was a flood, a storm of flood, and they have to trap him. They have to corner him, and then he survived through the flood. He protected his daughter, and then several generals too. I think 6 generals fought him, and then that's really not enough. The best thing they did was they managed to kill his daughter. So it was an army, several generals, and what they did was a coalition army, and what they only managed to do was kill his daughter, and I think his horse too. I think they managed to kill the horse, because this horse was also very strong. They stabbed this horse several times and it was still going, but I think they managed to kill the horse and the daughter at the last minute here during Lubu. Then they only managed to beat Lubu when he's lost his will, and they didn't really kill him. They didn't really manage to kill him in battle. They just captured him. They managed to capture a demotivated, depressed Lubu. And there's so many things to say about Lubu. I think Lubu deserves his own video. So I think pretty much I'm saying Lubu deserves the title, the God of War. He's also smart and also very strong. I think he's almost as strong as the strongest warrior in Berserk. Yeah, something like that. So Lubu is very strong and also very manipulative. He's sort of a combination of Loki and Thor here, but a human version. He pretty much deserves the title, the God of War. And then when they managed to capture him, he sort of pleaded. Then they tried to strangle him, and then it was like, I don't know, 4? I think it was 4 people that tried to kill him at the end, and then he managed to broke free. And then in his last moments, he realized who's gonna win this whole war that Dongzhu was started. So that's it, pretty much. Lubu goated, probably my favorite character here in this series. Absolutely goated character. Lubu, one of the best. Yeah, go. And then, but that being said, I will try to stop with Lubu for now, because Lubu is really amazing, and then it's gonna take me a while. It already took me a while about Lubu, Cao Cao, and the rest. I'll try my best to keep these things at 5 minutes. So perhaps next I'll just end it here. But next I will go with the 8 geniuses. So there we go. I will stop here for now. Lubu, God of War, one of the greatest, if not the greatest, Ravages of Time character.